Let me tell you something that will either set you free or offend you, but it will wake you up. Success is not about talent. It's not about connections. It's not even about timing. It's about discipline. Discipline is the bridge between the version of you that dreams and the version of you that dominates. You don't need more motivation. You need more mastery over your mind. Discipline is what makes the difference between a millionaire mindset and listen, there's a universal law at work. The law of sowing and reaping. You cannot harvest in September what you did not plant in March. So stop asking for results where you've invested no obedience, no consistency, no daily discipline. Discipline means doing what you said you would do long after the mood you set it in has left. That's real integrity. You can't live your best life while making lazy decisions. If you don't command your day will command you. Now, some of you are stuck, not because you're incapable, but because you're undisciplined. You're scrolling when you should be studying. You're watching when you should be working. You're reacting to life instead of leading it. Let me ask you this. How can you expect a life of excellence if you tolerate habits of mediocrity? Discipline is not punishment, it's empowerment. It's the key that unlocks destiny. And here's the truth. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. The question isn't, can I be disciplined? It's, am I willing to pay the price for the life I claim I want? Discipline is the bridge between dreams and domination. It is not just a motivational phrase, it's a principle of power. Every person who has ever built anything of lasting value knows this truth. Dreams are free, but the bridge that leads to their realization is paved with sacrifice, repetition, and unwavering commitment. That bridge is called discipline. Too many people live in the fantasy of dreams, but never take the first step onto that bridge. They say they want success, but their actions say otherwise. They dream of financial freedom, but they won't stick to a budget. They dream of starting a business, but they can't commit to waking up early or investing in their growth. They dream of a better body, but they can't stay consistent in the gym or resist what's on their plate. It's not that the dream is wrong, it's that they haven't developed the discipline to reach it. Discipline is not about feeling good, it's about doing what's right, especially when it's inconvenient. It's waking up before the sun rises when your body screams for more sleep. It's choosing silence and focus when distractions are pulling at every part of your attention. It's doing what is required when you don't see immediate results. Discipline builds what emotion cannot. Emotion may get you started, but only discipline will carry you to the finish. When someone says they don't feel like it, that's a signal they're still on the wrong side of the bridge. Because those who dominate life don't wait to feel right. They do right until it feels normal. They condition their body, their mind, and their spirit to move in alignment with their highest calling. They've trained themselves to obey their commitments more than their comfort. And that's the power of discipline. You see, dreams are not rare. Everyone has dreams. Go anywhere in the world, every city, every village, every home, and you'll find someone who's imagined a better life, a higher level, a breakthrough moment. But domination, actual mastery over results, that belongs to the few who discipline themselves when no one's watching. While others are binge watching, they're building. While others are making excuses, they're making moves. While others are passive, they're planting seeds. Over and over again, even when the soil looks dry. Discipline is the habit of kings. It's the code of conquerors. It's the daily agreement you make with yourself that you will not settle for potential. You will pursue power, and not power over people, but power over yourself. Because the most dangerous enemy to your dream is not out there. It's the undisciplined version of you that keeps getting in the way. People admire the glory of domination, but forget the grind it took to get there. They see the success, but not the self-control behind it. They see the spotlight, but not the shadows of lonely practice and silent preparation. Discipline is forged in those quiet moments when no one claps for you, no one encourages you, and no one even believes in you. But you still show up. You still push. You still build. There is no fast track, no shortcut, no hack that can substitute for it. Discipline is the process that transforms desire into destiny. You can't dream your way to domination. You must discipline your way there. Every workout you don't skip, every dollar you save, every distraction you ignore, every deadline you meet, each of these is a brick in the bridge. Over time, they create a structure strong enough to carry you from where you are to where you were always meant to be. You cannot harvest where you haven't planted. This isn't just a law of nature. It's a law of life, business, relationships, success, and even your mindset. People often look at others who are thriving and wonder how they got there. But they fail to see the planting season that came long before the harvest. They see the rewards but overlook the roots. They admire the fruit but ignore the discipline that produced it. Too many people walk around with empty baskets, waiting for abundance to fall into their laps, yet their fields are barren. They want wealth without work, results without responsibility, promotion without preparation. But life doesn't work like that. The ground only gives to those who give first. If you haven't taken the time to plant seeds of consistency, effort, sacrifice, learning, and stagnation, then don't be surprised when your harvest looks like lack, struggle, and stagnation. The principle is simple. Sowing always precedes reaping. You sow time into your craft and you reap mastery. You sow energy into your body and you reap health. You sow love into your relationships and you reap connection. You sow excellence into your work and you reap opportunity. And here's what most people miss. The seed doesn't produce overnight. There's always a waiting period between planting and harvest. And what you do during that waiting season reveals everything about your future. Some people plant once and expect a forest. They make one move, one investment, one effort, and then quit because they didn't see immediate results. But the soil doesn't respond to entitlement, it responds to diligence. If you only plant when it's easy or convenient, your harvest will reflect your inconsistency. The ones who reap the greatest harvests are those who plant in every season. When it's hot, when it's cold, when it's lonely, when it's tough. They understand that if they keep sowing, the soil has no choice but to respond. You cannot withdraw from a field you've never deposited into. You cannot collect rewards from a routine you haven't committed to. People say they want growth, but they haven't watered the gifts they've been given. They want favor, but they haven't planted faithfulness. They want promotion, but they haven't planted humility and service. There's a divine order to how this works, and you can't violate it and expect blessing. Even when it looks like nothing is happening on the surface, the seed is still working, roots are growing, foundations are forming, but that only happens if you've planted something in the first place. When you look at someone successful and think they're lucky, what you're actually seeing is a harvest season following years of planting, late nights, early mornings, sacrifices, failures, restarts. All of it buried in the soil of discipline and commitment. If you keep showing up, the soil will eventually show out. But the opposite is also true. If you don't sow, don't expect to grow. The world responds to what you invest, not just what you desire. Desire without discipline is delusion. It's like walking into a field with an empty bag and expecting crops to bow to your wishes. The land owes you nothing until you've proven you understand the process. This law is not a punishment, it's protection. It puts power in your hands. It means you're not a victim of your circumstances, you're a result of your planting. And the beautiful thing is you can start planting today. You can change your harvest by changing your habits. Every choice, every action, every word, every moment, it's all a seed. And the seeds you plant consistently determine the story you'll live eventually. Do what you said you'd do even after the mood is gone. That's the difference between people who finish and people who fantasize. Talk is cheap when energy is high. It's easy to make promises when you're excited, when the vision is fresh, when motivation is running through your veins. But real discipline is revealed not when you're inspired, but when you're inconvenienced. The true test of your commitment isn't what you do when it's easy. It's what you do when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, when it's quiet, when no one is watching and no one is cheering you on. Most people live in cycles of starting and stopping because they rely on moods. They start the gym in January and stop in February. They launch a business on Monday and quit by Friday. They speak big goals but break small promises. Why? Because their actions are powered by emotion, not by decision. But emotion is unstable. It shifts with the weather, the traffic, the news, and even your sleep. You can't build anything lasting on a foundation that constantly moves. That's why the ones who succeed long-term are the ones who separate their choices from their feelings. They anchor their actions in conviction, not convenience. When you make a decision and then let your mood decide whether you follow through, you're giving your power away. You're putting your future in the hands of temporary emotions. You're letting how you feel in the moment sabotage what you said in the spirit. And that's why so many people are stuck, because they keep canceling on themselves. They make commitments and break them in silence. They think it doesn't matter because no one sees it, but your soul sees it. Your confidence erodes a little every time you don't follow through. You stop believing in yourself, not because you're weak, but because your subconscious remembers every promise you abandon. Doing what you said you'd do builds integrity. And integrity is not just about being honest with others, it's about being honest with yourself. When you follow through, even when it's painful, even when it costs you comfort, you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy, that your word is law, that you don't need external validation to maintain internal alignment. And that kind of self-trust is the foundation of all greatness. The reason some people walk into a room and command attention because they know they are who they say they are, not just in public, but in private. Every time you honor your word after the mood is gone, you build something invisible but powerful. You strengthen your identity. You shift from someone who tries to someone who trains. You shift from someone who reacts to someone who reigns. Because kings and queens don't need to feel royal to act royal. They act in line with their position, not their feelings. You've got to adopt the same mindset. You said you'd write the book, so write it. You said you'd get in shape, so train. You said you'd launch the project, so launch it. Don't ask your mood for permission, ask your purpose for instruction. People remember what you finish, not what you fantasize about. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. And execution requires consistency long after the inspiration is gone. It means building systems that function when motivation fails. It means creating routines that don't care how you feel. It means choosing responsibility over excuses and faithfulness over fluctuation. This is the secret weapon most people never discover. While they're chasing the next high, the next idea, the next push, you become a force of nature, unchanging, unshaken, unstoppable, because you've made the decision that your word means something, that your actions align with your identity, that your commitment is stronger than your comfort, that you don't just talk about what you'll do, you do it, especially when you no longer feel like it. Undisciplined habits lead to unfulfilled potential. There is no mystery in failure when you trace it back to the habits that built it. People don't end up broken, unhealthy, or spiritually dry by accident. It's the daily repetition of undisciplined choices that creates a life beneath what they were called to live. Every habit is either building your destiny or breaking it. Every time you choose ease over effort, you are investing in a future you're going to regret. You were born with potential, but that potential is powerless if it's not guided by discipline. Potential is like a seed. It has the capacity for greatness, but if you don't place it in the soil of discipline, water it with consistency, and protect it from distractions, it will never become what it was designed to be. That's the deception most people live under. They think potential is enough. They think talent will carry them. They think being gifted means they're guaranteed to win. But the truth is, the world is filled with talented failures, brilliant minds with broken lives, and dreamers who never built anything because they couldn't master their daily decisions. Discipline is what activates potential. It is the system that gives structure to your ability. Without it, you're just a scattered bundle of ideas, energy, and promise, directionless and drifting. You might have the passion, but without the patterns, you'll keep cycling in frustration. People often say they feel stuck, but they're not stuck. They're just enslaved by habits that are beneath their purpose. They don't need a new opportunity, they need a new operating system. Your habits are either hiring your future or firing it. If you don't control them, they will control you. Waking up late, skipping goals, procrastinating, complaining, indulging, wasting time on empty entertainment. These aren't just bad decisions. They are spiritual termites eating away at your destiny. The danger is that they don't destroy you overnight. They do it slowly, silently, while you're still clapping for your own potential. You think you're okay because your life hasn't collapsed yet, but erosion works beneath the surface. One day you wake up and wonder why the harvest never came, why the doors never opened, why the breakthrough never showed up, and the answer is rooted in the small, undisciplined habits you tolerated for years. People say they want to be great, but greatness isn't born from emotion, it's born from execution. The greatest people in history didn't just dream more, they did more. They repeated actions that felt insignificant in the moment, but compounded over time. That's what discipline does. It turns small steps into unstoppable momentum. It turns 10 pages a day into a library of knowledge. It turns one workout into a life. It turns 5 minutes of prayer into spiritual fire. Discipline isn't just about what you avoid, it's about what you build. The reason so many people feel powerless is because they've surrendered to the path of least resistance. They've confused freedom with indulgence. But freedom isn't doing whatever you want. True freedom is found in the strength to govern yourself, to say no when it's hard, to stay when it's uncomfortable, to finish when it's boring. Undisciplined habits rob you of that strength. They make you a slave to your moods, a victim of your impulses, a prisoner of your excuses. When you settle for undisciplined living, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting legacy. There are people waiting on the version of you that you were supposed to become. But you can't lead them because you haven't led yourself. You can't build anything that lasts if your foundation is cracked by compromise. What you do daily determines what you become permanently. Potential only matters if dreams only matter if they're developed. And the raw material of all development is discipline. The pain of discipline is lighter than the pain of regret. This is a truth that every successful person learns early and every struggling person eventually discovers. Pain is a part of the process no matter what path you choose. The difference is the type of pain and the return it brings. The pain of discipline is the pain that comes from stretching yourself, pushing past your limits, saying no when it's inconvenient, and showing up when it's uncomfortable. It's the pain of early mornings, late nights, tough decisions, delayed gratification, and silent sacrifice. But that pain has purpose, that pain has value, that pain produces results. Regret, on the other hand, is a heavier pain. It's the pain that lingers, the pain that grows, the pain that whispers, "What if?" long after the moment is past. Regret is the weight of knowing you could have been more, done more, created more, impacted more, but you didn't because you chose comfort over calling. You chose temporary pleasure over long-term